Coming up,
It took a lot of soul searching. There's some cows that'll sell here that won't get replaced.
Without a doubt, one of the strong maternal cow herds in North America.
Those calves that'll grade 95% choice and 17% prime and starts there at Badger Creek with those bulls.
Just take them home, they'll work for you. I mean, bulletproof.
Badger Creek is dispersing, and you get access to top foundational genetics next on The American Rancher. Hello and welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. Today we're in Emporia, Kansas at Badger Creek Cattle Company, a seed stock operation with a knack for developing Angus and Sim-Angus females that excel as functional, long-lasting mothers. Badger Creek bulls complement those females, who together put pounds on the ground for commercial cattle operations everywhere. On September 6th and 7th, Badger Creek will disperse the entire Kansas unit, giving registered breeders and commercial operators access to genetics that have never been offered to the public. The sale will be broadcast on Superior and managed by Innovation Ag Marketing and the American Angus Hall of Fame, two firms who know the seed stock industry very well.
I started working with Clint Woodrow when formerly the ranch was known as EB Ranch, and then through the transitions into Badger Creek, have had the opportunity to work with Clint and the Spivey family, not only on the female sale, but on the bull sales annually each February, and marketing the product that's produced here on the ranch in Emporia, Kansas.
I came from an operation out east and joined the ranch as EB Ranch in 2007. We were on the eastern side of the country. We knew we didn't want to raise our children where we were, so this afforded us the opportunity to move back to a part of the country that we really wanted to live in. It's a little more cow country than where we were from, and we sure love it here. I mean, I don't know where else in the world we'd want to be. Our main focus, or our goals that we wanted to achieve, were certainly through the Angus and the Sim-Angus business. We love the heterosis that comes when you cross those cattle up, and the performance and all the good things that brings to the table. So we tried to breed up. Our main focus is certainly maternal-based cow herd. We love our maternal traits, keeping the cattle sound, making them functional, keeping udder qualities and things on those lines of going on, but still trying to keep enough look and enough form and function in those cows that we can go on and sell our bulls and market our females as well.
EB Ranch was built on the principles of function and form of Angus cattle. Those Angus cattle were hand-selected and bred by Clint Woodrow with the focus in mind to be as strong maternally as any cow herd in the country. Those cows were utilized both on the Angus side as well as the Sim-Angus to create a product for their commercial customers. Those bulls that were marketed annually were going to producers that sold their cattle by the pound, but also a lot of those producers that would retain ownership of the females to build their own cow herds. So a strong maternal base was very critical to the foundation of the cow herd at EB Ranch.
We haven't changed anything from EB to Badger Creek. All we did was just exemplify that and grow on a much larger scale. We continued in the registered Simmental and Angus and Sim-Angus business on up till the passing or the death of Don Eby. At that point, his three sons carried on the legacy and kept the ranch going, operating as a registered cattle ranch. As time went on, their business interests furthered in different directions, and another family come up by the name of Tim and Lucinda Spivey. They showed interest and acquired the ranch some 5-6 years ago, and then changed the name to Badger Creek, and we've just kind of taken the ball and run with it. And we've expanded from the cattle that we own and operate here at Badger Creek in Kansas, and then we have another satellite herd that runs there in Illinois at the Spivey's home, which is another 400 or 500 running cows that we operate there as well.
Tim and Lucinda Spivey, owners of Badger Creek Cattle Company, are great people that have a love for the agricultural industry, the grain farming industry, and the cattle business. And they got their start through their first purchases of Simmental cattle.
We sold them their first cow many moons ago, I guess, or a few years ago, and they got excited about the registered side of it. They'd had cattle before, just not on the registered side. And as we got into the registered cattle and they could see the relationships and the people and the friends that they could make in that industry and move forward, it was sure appealing to them.
And that love for the cattle industry has expanded now to the cow herd here in Kansas with some 1,200 plus head of registered Angus and Sim-Angus cattle. I think the largest reason that this program has been successful is because of their commitment to their customer base. Whether that's in making breeding decisions that'll be affected over 2 years down the road, Clint and his crew have always had that in mind, and they focus on the big picture. They focus on the fundamentals first, and I believe that that has allowed them to forge that relationship with those customers and to cater to their needs. That's what's made this ranch so successful.
Mr. Spivey, whenever he has been successful in other things, and he's not afraid to stay hitched to something. Once he gets into it, he has a mindset of, we're going to make this work, and we want to be the best at it at what we can be. And we've seemed to have achieved most of those goals. I think we keep going, it's sure going to get better. He's not stubbed his toe yet. The typical cow for us is probably a frame 6.5 frame cow, averaging between 14 to 1,600 as far as a mature weight that they operate. We need them cows to breed back. We need low input, efficient kind of cows in this country. We allow about 6 acres per pair through the spring to run on the native hills in the grass, and then we maintain the cattle through a roughage ration through the winter months.
Up next.
With the volume of cattle that we run, it allows us to exploit more numbers and get out there to reach more of a customer base.
Learn how Badger Creek retooled an elite Angus breeding program to function everywhere. That's after the break here on The American Rancher.
When your cattle are stressed, they're not eating, they're not gaining, and they're certainly not healthy or comfortable. VitaCharge, from the makers of VitaFirm, protects and helps livestock recover from the effects of stress. Use it at weaning, shipping, receiving, or any time your livestock will encounter stress, as a proactive measure to increase appetite and promote health and performance. VitaCharge. Protect and recover. To learn more, visit vitafirm.com.
Hi, I'm Bob McLaren with 44 Farms. We have a new program with Walmart called Prime Pursuits, which brings together great Angus producers from around the United States together to provide great beef for the consumer. Producers all around the country, we would love for you to join us in this great pursuit. So please give us a call. We would love to talk to you about the specifics of this great new program. Thank you.
Established in 1987, Superior Livestock Auction is the largest cattle marketing network in North America. We sell forward contracted, load lots of ranch fresh cattle on video and internet auctions. Last year, almost 1.4 million head were sold by Superior Livestock Auction, and they brought top dollar. World champion auctioneers present your cattle to buyers across the nation. We have over 8,000 active and qualified buyers, maximizing competitive bidding and true price discovery. Your cattle stay at the ranch until delivery, and your Superior rep writes you a check when it's done. Simple as that. Our job is getting you the best paycheck possible. We know that most producers only get one paycheck a year for their cattle, and more cattlemen and women trust us to get the most out of every sale. Call us at 800-422-2117 or go online to learn more about how Superior Livestock Auction can work for you.
Welcome back to The American Rancher. Badger Creek Cattle Company, formerly EB Ranch in Emporia, Kansas, develops functional Angus, Sim-Angus, and Simmental cattle. Over the past 5 years, Clint and the crew at Badger Creek have worked hard to develop genetics that benefit from a crossbreeding program, and all that hard work has paid off.
We saw that there was a bigger draw or bigger need for the percentage cattle, the Sim-Angus type cattle that in this part of the world. We spent a lot of time in trying to educate the public on the heterosis and the benefits that brings to it. With the volume of cattle that we run, it allows us to exploit more numbers and get out there to reach more of a customer base with the heterosis and the half-blood cattle and the type of Angus cattle that we breed. Just good functional cattle that'll go get it done. That was one of the challenges, is educating the people about the half-blood or the percentage type cattle in a state that's very, very rooted in Angus.
So here at Badger Creek Cattle Company, phenotype is something that there's no shortage of. The cow herd is impressive. Visually, there's no doubt that it's as strong a set of maternal females as you can find anywhere in North America. Udder quality, foot design, structural integrity, things that just simply won't go out of style. These are cows that have been built from the ground up. Without a doubt, one of the strong maternal cow herds in North America. Clint has been committed to making those females as functional and fundamental as you could possibly ask them to be. These cows are sustainable on the forage-based diet that they have here in the Flint Hills, in the eastern portion, and there's no question that those cows earn their keep year in and year out, and they're required to work for a living.
As we start mating these cows, with the implementation of artificial insemination and our ET transfer program, that's allowed us to create so many half sibs and keep the consistency we built on those. There's an enormous amount of AI. We're almost 100% AI on these cows. ET, we have scaled back just a little bit over the last couple of years. We've gotten enough daughters, and in our mind, we've gotten the cow herd good enough that we don't have to expend the extra funds to create ET daughters when we've already got full sibs and we can AI them back to bulls that we already own in our own stud.
Those bulls that have been housed at many of the top AI studs across the country walk here at Badger Creek Ranch, natural service, and there'll be an opportunity to purchase sires such as KR Casino 6243, J&J Way Up 294, bulls that have a renowned name across the industry. Those bulls walk here at Badger Creek, and the proof is in the calf crop. There's no doubt about it. Many of those bulls have produced high-selling females and high-selling bulls that have topped different events across the country for other programs. So now will be the opportunity for other programs to make the investment and walk those herd sires themselves.
The cow shows have been good to us. We've seen a lot of recognition over the years on showing cattle. We do it a little different. We don't breed show cattle. We show breeding cattle, and I think that's the aspect that we want to take forward from here. These cattle we have been good enough or lucky enough to win in the cow show. We've got a few banners, but them cattle have gone on, and you'll see progeny all those past winners, and you'll see them. They're functional cows that have been lucky enough to get their picture taken and hang a banner on the wall, but they're still good cows to start with. Once the dispersal's gone and as we start moving forward, I don't know that our goals have changed much at all. I mean, the target's still out there and we're still going to shoot for it. It may take us another day or two or three to get re-racked to where we can continue to move forward, but forward progress is the key. I think as long as we can kind of close the gap between the show type cattle and the breeding type cattle and bring all them back together, that's our goal. Functional cattle that can make everybody money. That's the target at the end, and that's where we're aiming for.
After the break,
Predictability in those calves is really key. Those calves that'll grade 95% choice and 17% prime, and starts there at Badger Creek with those bulls.
hear what two customers have to say about Badger Creek genetics. You're watching The American Rancher. Stay with us.
In 1994, Superior Livestock Auction introduced nationally recognized value-added programs to the American beef industry. Now, cattle sold on Superior Livestock video auctions get top dollar when a program is behind them. The USDA-approved, third-party audited Superior Verified program verifies source and age of your calves. Superior Progressive Genetics identifies load lots of cattle sold on Superior that are sired by Top Genetics. NHTC verifies the source, age, and non-hormone treatment status of your calves. These and other Superior value-added programs are just another way that Superior Livestock is improving the beef industry and bringing more dollars to your bottom line. Individual programs start at just $1.22 per hundredweight.
So you can't make any money any faster than investing $3 and getting $40, $60, $70 back.
Call or go online to find out more about Superior Livestock's value-added programs. Join Superior Livestock Auction for our monthly Holstein, steer, and dairy-influenced video auction. With the largest number of registered and active buyers in the nation competing for your cattle, sellers enjoy proven price discovery that pays top dollar. Buyers get high volumes and steady supplies of quality cattle. Backed by Superior's trusted experience in national livestock marketing, Superior is your source for dairy-influenced calves. Click SuperiorLivestock.com to find out more.
The Superior Country page is the leading online marketplace for buying and selling load lots of calves, feeders, and breeding stock. The Country Page is an efficient, easy-to-use, and low-cost solution for selling cattle. You set the price and move at your pace with flexible delivery options. The Country Page matches the best buyers to the best sellers at the best price for both parties. Call or log on today to find out more about the superior Country Page.
Welcome back to the American Rancher. Clint Woodrow and the crew at Badger Creek Cattle Company have spent years developing Angus, Sim-Angus, and Simmental cattle that are functional, foundational, and perform for both commercial and registered operations across the country. Now, Badger Creek is dispersing their entire herd, giving you access to highly productive genetics never before offered to the public.
As we come into our dispersal that'll come here on Labor Day or Labor Day weekend, it's not a total dispersal for us. We're going to offer the Kansas unit, the cows that we've spent 5, 6, 7 years putting together. We've outgrown the land mass that we have. We need to downsize a bit to fit the ground that we have, and in doing so, it's pretty hard to look at that and sort out, the 200-300 cows that you want to keep. So with us, we're just going to offer them all. We'll re-rack after that. We'll rebuild ourselves out of our semen tanks and out of the cow herd that we have in Illinois. Carries a lot of the same likes and kinds that we have here. And but yeah, we're not going away.
Longtime customers of EB Ranch and now Badger Creek have trusted Clint and the crew for predictable, highly productive cattle that perform well in a crossbreeding program. Although Badger Creek is dispersing the entire Kansas unit, this is not the end.
I think in the transition from EB to Badger Creek, the relationships that had been started were maintained by Clint. Those relationships have flourished, and because of that, we're seeing repeat customers that have been buying bulls here for over a decade. Those customers and their next generation within their program are still coming to the bull sale. They're still actively participating because the cattle have worked for them and they've been successful for their program's bottom line. That's something that Clint has remained committed to, is using his own bulls and using the bulls in the program, because if he doesn't use them and this program doesn't use them, there's no true opportunity to figure out what bulls work on what sort of cows. And he's testing these bulls to know exactly what they're capable of.
We'll sell 100, 150 bulls a year, primarily commercial bull buyers that sell their cattle by the pound. They have certain requirements that they want us to hit, and we sure try and check all the boxes for them on the bull sales, but they're not big glam kind of guys. They just want to buy bulls that'll work for them and make them money. So that's the majority of our bull customers. Our female customers, we typically send them to more registered type breeders. Brandon Greenwood, them guys, he's bought a number of bulls. He runs more of a stalker type operation. He sells cattle by the pound. If our bulls will work for them, they'll continue to buy them. If they don't, they're going to find some place that does. So they've been pretty loyal to us. We sure try and help them out every bit we can.
The flexibility that Badger Creek's gives us is we can select some bulls that do have the female potential to keep some heifers, and also to get some good carcass growth and performance. And I try to buy a little larger frame, not really looking at the birth weights at all, because I'm looking for pounds. So I want a heavier muscle, bigger bone kind of bull to really put some bone and muscle in those calves. The heterosis is a big deal for us. I mean, we've been mostly going with Simmentals and Sim-Angus bulls to get that heterosis, to get that extra pounds that are pretty cheap, really, from a breeding decision. So I think Clint's done a good job of kind of trying to balance the genotype and the phenotypes. Whether we're going to the sale barn or retaining ownership, I mean, I said when those cattle go in the ring, I mean, they're going to be in the top end of the ones at the barn. I mean, they sell good, and makes you question whether you ought to just sell them or feed them, because they bring enough money that sometimes it might not pay to feed them. As far as we look at long term, it's having a good relationship with our seed stock producer, with Clint. It means a lot, because I know that he's going to help us make decisions that are going to help us make money in the future and to stay in business and be more sustainable. 5-10 years down the road, I would like to probably do more retained ownership, and really selecting for those carcasses and the growth, but also maintaining that maternal side. That the cow longevity is a big deal, because I mean, if that cow can have 10 calves, that saves a lot of money on the turnover on the cow.
Brian Keith at Keith Cattle Company, I mean, them guys do a tremendous job up there. He's bought bulls from us for a number of years, EB all the way into Badger Creek, and they're very good producers. I mean, they like to operate at the top of their game, whether it's their custom feeding yard that they operate or their own cattle that they have. I mean, they feed them cattle all the way to the end, sell them on the grid, and it works out well for them. You know, our cattle fit that mentality of the guys that are trying to do that. If they don't, the best thing about them is they come back and tell us what we can change and what we can make on that aspect.
We've got a backgrounding growing feed yard, grow yard here. We've got facilities for just under 4,000 head of calves confined. We also run a grazing operation here, and we've got about 3,000 yearlings on grass. We're in the heart of the Flint Hills. Allen, Kansas, just 20 miles north of Emporia, between Emporia and Topeka and Council Grove. My family's been here since the early 60s. The cattle business is a pretty small world when you really get out there, and you know, the relationships you build and the relationships you cherish and nurture is what keeps the ball rolling and keeps the inventory coming back. And we started back with EBs years ago and bought some bulls down there and had been satisfied with what we've done. Clint and his crew do a great job getting those bulls grown up and ready to go. Clint's really good about feet and legs and soundness, which goes a long way today. We retain ownership on all of our calves through the feed yard and genetics, and we deliver all our cattle back on a grid, usually through National. Kill them at National there in Dodge City on the U.S. Premium grid, and those calves that'll grade 95% choice and 17% prime. Predictability is key, you know, knowing what you've got. You know, those calves ring a bell and bring a premium back at the end, and the genetics comes together and starts there at Badger Creek with those bulls. Balanced traits in those bulls to me is extremely important. You know, not only is he focused on soundness and fertility, and that maternal side of that's key too, where we're retaining our own heifers back and using, Clint's even helped us with artificial insemination and, you know, picking some of those bulls to use on those replacement heifers. With the volatility that we're faced with in our market today, it's just that peace of mind to know that those bulls are going to do their job, and Badger Creek's going to stand behind those bulls if we have a problem or if there is an issue, which, knock on wood, so far we haven't had.
Badger Creek Cattle Company has reached maximum capacity as far as the land equivalent ratio to the cattle. And because of that, we made the decision with Clint and Tim and Lucinda Spivey to disperse the Kansas unit here on Labor Day weekend, September 6th and 7th at the ranch in Emporia, Kansas. It was a difficult decision, but it gives the opportunity for buyers from across the country to select from the very best females and the very best herd sires that call home to Badger Creek.
It's by no means an ending. It's just going to start another chapter as we get to the end of, or we've maximized our ground and the capacity that we can have here. This is just the next logical step for us to send them out, I guess. It's a sobering thought to sit there and talk about dispersing a cow herd that you've got a lot of sweat equity in. It took a lot of soul searching. There's some cows that'll sell here that won't get replaced.
For the last 5 years, nearly every female born on the ranch has been retained and not been sold off the top. There has not been the opportunity to buy females at Badger Creek on an annual basis. So this is one of the first opportunities to select from the young cow herd that has been bred from the top donors and sired by some of the most elite herd bulls in the country.
The offering that we'll have here will be, there's some of these cows that are irreplaceable. I certainly don't want to see them go, but we've got to play with them for 4 or 5 years, tried to improve upon them and mass create them as much as we could. You'll see a lot of daughters, a lot of full sib daughters that'll sell. We use our herd sire battery to influence our cow herd enormously. You can affect so many cows with just one bull. The consistency that will follow out through the cow herd, from the Angus cows into the percentage semi-cows into the purebred semi-cows. Again, I don't know where you can go to find a set of cows that'll look like this. There'll be opportunities for everybody, for the established registered breeder, for the commercial breeder, and for the guys that are just wanting to start out and maybe transition a little bit from the commercial side into the registered side. Guys that can buy some cows and produce their own bulls. There's opportunities abound in this cow herd. Just take them home, they'll work for you. I mean, bulletproof. I mean, people ought to come to the sale just for the the cows. I mean, the cow herd that you're going to see, there's a lot of sweat equity in these. It's been a kind of a process of building up to it, and that's probably the part that we're the most proud of, is the cows and the consistency and the type and kind of what they are. Not a lot of trends in this. It's functional cattle that'll work, and I feel comfortable to say they're going to work anywhere in the country, and they're going to work for whoever owns them after the sale.
Join Graham, Clint, and the crew on September 6th and 7th for the Badger Creek Cattle Company Complete Dispersal Sale in Emporia, Kansas. This is a rare opportunity to get your hands on hardworking, maternally focused Angus, Sim-Angus, and Simmental bulls and females. For details, log on to superiorlivestock.com or badgercreekcattle.com. That's all the time we have today. To find out more about us, log on to our website, theamericanrancher.com, or connect with us on Facebook. I'm Pam Minnick. For the entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.